Hey folks, it's Finn. I thought today I'd get back to some of the viewers' questions that you've been sending my way. One of the most common questions I'm asked about is how to deal with waiting times in transition, because this is a big waiting process. And I'm asked that question by young guys that are still in school and so have got to wait to go through to adult services before they can even start testosterone, and by guys that are just older and are held up by the gender identity clinic waiting lists that are out there. And also I've had some messages from guys in America who they can't access medical insurance, and so transition is just completely on hold for them, and without the funds they might not ever get it. And I've just been talking to a few people about how they think I would manage that, and to be honest, I don't know completely, but I will try and answer as best as I can from my own experience. Dealing with waiting times is the worst thing about transition. It is horrendous here in the UK in terms of the amount of people that are now identifying as transgender, requesting a referral for clinics has just gone up hugely. And so waiting times are at least 6 months, more commonly a year, before you've even got your first appointment. And then appointments can be anything from 6 weeks to 3 months apart. Clinics vary in how many appointments they're likely to have to assess you before they'll give you hormones. And then of course when you're on hormones, you've got to wait again to be assessed for top surgery and lower surgery, and then there's waiting times for that. So I feel the pain. It's horrid, and I'm still not out of that myself, because I'm waiting for second stage lower surgery. Was told 3 months, it's looking like it's going to be almost 9. Yeah, well used to this frustration of waiting, and waiting some more. How I dealt with it in early days was, first and foremostly, be really grateful. I know that it's still hard, but we have the NHS over here. We are incredibly fortunate to have a system that does recognise being transgender as a valid medical condition and allow us access to treatment for that, so that we do not have to pay out of pocket. So I think I always kind of reminded myself of that we are very blessed, and that I'm not the only one that's gone through it as well. I think that is the thing. I can take a lot from the common experience of we're all in this waiting period, and so knowing that everybody else is going through it kind of brings us really together as a community. And I found that really connecting with the trans community online in the beginning, because I was too anxious to go out, really helped, because other people were in my position and could sympathise and empathise. And importantly, there were also people that were years ahead, like I am now, that would say, look, it feels uncomfortable, I know, but you will get there. And it can be hard to hear that at times, but it gave me hope to know that it will happen. It feels like time is dragging, but it will happen. One of the best ways I dealt with it was to take things one day at a time, like I do with everything else. I think if I'd have sat there, well, the times when I did sit there and think, oh my god, I'm pre-T, I've not even heard from my clinic yet, I'm going to be this old by the time I've had hormones, I'm not even going to have surgery till then, and it would send me into a complete spiral. That's just not a helpful way to think about things. It's good to think about things in short, manageable chunks. 2 things really helped me was setting small, manageable goals and accepting my powerlessness over the waiting times. And by that I mean, there is nothing you can do. If there is something you can do, do it. Like, for example, I was waiting for a referral, so just to make myself feel better and more involved, I would ring up once a month and just say, hello, just checking on the referrals, can you give me any more news? And that was all I could do. Now, I could kick, scream, cry, what have you, but it actually wouldn't change the fact that the waiting time was there. So this is what I mean about powerlessness. When you accept something that you cannot do anything about it other than wait, then it's much easier. What you can do, though, is use your time whilst you're waiting in a better way that serves you. Because let's face it, the waiting times are there, but you can choose how you respond to that. If you choose to kind of like get absolutely mental, it's not going to help you. So choose your reaction to it. Choose how to respond to it. And respond to it by just setting yourself small, manageable things to do. So if you're in the process of coming out, set yourself little goals like, by this date I'm going to come out to this person, by this date I'm going to be coming out to this person. I'm going to have changed my name. There's lots of little things that can happen in early transition that you can use to set yourself these small manageable goals. And that way you get an achievement every, say, couple of weeks or a month, however you set the goals, so that you've got a feeling of moving forward. So even if that clinic appointment isn't there yet, you're like, oh, 2 weeks ago I set myself a goal to have told this bunch of people about what's happening, and I've done it. Amazing. Tick that off. Or it can be something like starting up an exercise routine, which is fantastic for you anyway, because that boosts your feel-good hormones, the endorphins. And it's all these little things that help you feel better. Now, I hear a lot of people say, well, you know, I can't feel better, I can't go out, I can't do this. And I do get that. I was exactly the same as well. It was so hard to go out. I was still really anxious. I was still having real trouble being around people. I hated that when I go out, I would be misgendered and it would feel absolutely mortifying. But the thing is, you need to remember this is not going to go away the minute you get testosterone. It is really key to remember that testosterone is not a magic elixir. Yes, my depression and my anxiety has got so much better since starting testosterone and going through treatment, but I had to put a lot of work into that as well. So you really need to start now, and that doesn't mean if you're an anxious person that you're suddenly jumping outside and being, hello, here I am. It's again these small manageable goals. Like for me, I went to safe places. Like I had a group of friends that treated me as male, called me he, did all those things. My little trans bubble, so I would socialise in those places where I knew I wasn't going to be misgendered and I was going to be treated how I saw myself to be. And importantly, those people knew that I was really struggling, so if I agreed to meet them for a coffee and I couldn't because I was too anxious and I rang up and called it off, they'd understand. And then if you do that, it's important not to get down on yourself. The fact is, you've made that appointment to have a coffee, that's fine. So if you set yourself a small goal once a week to arrange a coffee, then arrange that coffee and make the second goal to attend it. Then you've got two things in one. And then that way, if you arrange it, but you don't make it, you've still achieved. So this is what I mean. Break down everything you want to do in tiny, weeny, manageable goals. No one's expecting you to run a marathon right now. Early days can be really incredibly stressful, anxious, dysphoria-inducing, horrible. So break all this down. Set yourself small goals to do. My heart absolutely goes out to everybody that cannot access medical treatment. So how on earth do you deal with it? I mean, first and foremost, I think I'd say things like money drives. Whether that's asking for birthday, Christmas money instead of presents, maybe doing a fundraiser, starting a GoFundMe account. I think I would use those avenues first if my funds were not available to me. And I think then you've just got to use the acceptance, and it sounds awful, but I don't know what else you would have to do, really. I think I would probably try these fundraising things and at the same time be lobbying my government left, right and centre about this issue. I'd get really involved because that would do two things. It would help me with the depression of not being able to access treatment. I think having a purpose, fighting against it, really, really useful. So I think possibly kind of accepting that, right, in my country right now, they do not provide treatment. I have to accept it so that it doesn't cause me pain. But that doesn't mean I have to do nothing about it, because people often get acceptance wrong. People sometimes think that acceptance is putting your head in the sand and saying, oh, it's all fine. It isn't. It's about saying, this is happening. It isn't fine, but my reaction to it is not serving me. Therefore, I will accept it, breathe, and see what action I can put in that might help. If there's nothing you can do, then you have to just accept it, because any other thing just causes you huge amounts of pain, and it becomes not the thing itself that's causing you the pain, it's the way you're feeling about it. Does that make sense? So I think that's what I would do. I would say, this is really unfair. This is really not right. But currently this is how it is. I have to let go. And in the meantime, I'm going to put all my energy into lobbying my government and seeing what drives I can come up with to get some money. The Serenity Prayer is always so helpful to me in times where I've been really frustrated. I mean, like now, with lower surgery, I'm so frustrated. I was told 3 months, so I kind of thought it'd be fine because I've got exams in June and then I'm off to Glastonbury Festival, which is my yearly kind of like spiritual retreat. And then Andrew's got his surgery in August. So if I don't have my surgery by April, which I thought I would, I really can't have it now until September, October. I'm devastated, absolutely devastated, of course. But then it's like, okay, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Accept it. This waiting list is there. There's nothing I can do about it. If I cry, if I get upset, if I kick off, if I lose my temper, it's not going to change it. It's just going to change how I feel. It's going to make me feel worse. So that I accept the thing I cannot change. To change the things I can change my reaction to it. I can say, okay, there's nothing I can do. The waiting list is how it is. What I can do instead, I'm just going to focus on shedding some weight that I want to shed, getting some fitness back that I wanted to get back. And that's the wisdom to know the difference. So it's not like I'm just saying, oh, well, it doesn't matter, and I'm not acknowledging the pain. The wisdom to know the difference is acknowledging that pain, that I can't have surgery right now, but acknowledging also that my reaction to it can be either healthy or non-healthy, depending on how I choose. I choose the healthy thing as thinking, okay, the action I can do is to get fit and healthy in between. You know, if I look at a lot of other stuff I've had to accept, like I'm 42 next week, actually, and I'm often hit with a loss of my youth. So again, it's that courage to accept things I cannot change. I can't change the fact that I didn't do this earlier, but I can change how I live my life now. And there's always something coming up in transition that I either can never have, like, you know, a chest without scars, a penis that gets erect on its own. There will always be something I need to accept that I can't ever have, or can't have completely how I'd like, or can't have for a long time. And that's a process for us all, and I do think that acceptance is the main way, but acceptance with action. Do not think about acceptance as saying, oh, it doesn't matter. It does. Acknowledge it matters, but also acknowledge how you respond to it also matters, and that you can put action in other ways to deal with it. So I hope that's of some help. Please do drop a message in the comments if you relate to any of this, or to share how you deal with waiting times and not being able to access treatment. I have loads of questions from viewers, and I will get through them eventually, I promise. And if you do want to mention, please do let me know. I wasn't doing mentions because I just I don't out people unless, you know, they want me to mention them. So if you would like a mention when I say your question, then please do let me know, and let me know which name you want me to use, your YouTube name or something else entirely. Okay, take it easy everybody. I'm going to see you at the end of the week because I'm actually going to do a Valentine's special. So keep your eye out for that. Take care everybody. See you in a couple of days. Bye bye.